Hello, good afternoon, CME students. Today we're going to discuss the chapter 5 of our subject Business Taxation. Of course, it talks about the percentage tax. Okay? To start with, I'm going to define the definition of percentage tax according to our book. No, a percentage tax is a national tax. So, simple, no? It only means that this tax is being imposed by the national government, no, not the LGUs. Okay, measured by a certain percentage of the gross selling price or gross value in money of goods sold or bartered. No, of course, sinasabi na naman din yan that uh, the basis in computing the percentage tax is per gross selling price or gross value in money. So, of course, uh, the transactions para ma-impose natin yung percentage tax, it could be through selling, it could be through barter, or of the gross receipts or earnings derived by any person engaged in the sale of services. So, basic lang naman, no? So, kailangan nyo lang tandaan dyan, of course, national government, certain percentage tax is being multiplied to the gross selling price, gross value in money, which wherein the transaction is through selling, barter, or gross receipts, or earnings derived by any person engaged in the sale of services, no? Of course, tulad na sinabi natin, the object of consumption could be either goods or services, no? Okay, so ganun lang naman din siya generally. uh, Percentage tax is being imposed to a company selling goods if the company was not able to register as VAT person. No, ibig sabihin, if hindi niya na-reach yung 3 million threshold, of course, he is automatically subject to 3 percentage tax. 3% percentage tax. So, ganun lang naman siya kadali. No? Okay? So, if we're talking about goods, it could be exempted, it could be subject to percentage tax, and also it could be subject to value added tax. So, kung hindi siya value added tax, baka subject siya sa percentage tax. Otherwise, exempted. No? So, ganoon na lang naman siya. So, siguro i-highlight na natin to. We're done now with this and also, ay pangit. We're done with this and we also were done with this. So, ito yung naman sinabi ko kanina. If the company or the taxpayer is VAT registered, of course, he is not subject to general percentage tax. No, ito yan. Which is ito. So, pag VAT registered taxpayer, he is not qualified, no, para maging subject rin siya sa percentage tax. However, if the company is selling goods and not subject or not registered as VAT taxpayer, automatic he is subject to 3% percentage tax. No? Otherwise, exempted siya. No? So, other than that, subject siya sa percentage tax. Ganun lang naman siya kadali. No? However, if the company is selling services, no? So, regardless if he is a VAT registered taxpayer or non-VAT taxpayer, since the services is the subject wherein ayun yung subject sa percentage tax, of course, regardless of the status of his registration for value added tax, of course, he is still subject sa specific percentage tax, no? So, ang subject is yung mismong services, no? So, mapapansin mo dito, services specifically subject to percentage tax. And ito, of course, hindi siya fixed rate at 3%. So, depende kung anong klaseng services yan, no? So mamaya i-discuss naman natin yan thoroughly, no? So sinasabi lang naman din dito sa bandang baba, the non-VAT taxpayers are those who did not exceed the VAT threshold and who did not registered as VAT taxpayers. Okay. So I believe na madali lang to, scope of the percentage tax, no? So lagi niyo natandaan what is the object of consumption. If it is goods, of course sa tatlo lang yung babagsak kapag lumagpas yung kanyang sales sa 3 million subject sa VAT person siya, meaning kailangan niya magpa-register as VAT registered taxpayer, no? The moment na lumagpas na 3 million. If in case na hindi lumagpas pero nag-subject siya ay still registered as VAT person, of course, ang gagamitin mo pa rin is yung registration mo as VAT registered, no? However, kung hindi naman siya naka-registered as VAT taxpayer and hindi rin lumagpas yung kanyang sales sa 3 million, of course, siya ay subject sa percentage tax. Otherwise, no, exempted siya. Ibig sabihin, regardless of the amount of sales, as long as the entity is exempted, therefore, exempted siya sa any business taxes, either VAT or percentage tax. Okay? So, if that is, if the object of consumption is, of course, goods, no? However, if we're talking about services, regardless of the status of the taxpayer, as long as the services being done by the company ay subject sa percentage tax, therefore, still pampatawan pa rin natin ng specific percentage tax. So, ganun lang naman siya kadali. Hello, start tayo with the first mnemonic, which is tax on banks, non-banks, financial intermediaries, performing quasi-banking functions, no? So, this one, basahin nyo na lang yung definition ng banks according to the General Banking Law of 2000. Same with the non-bank financial intermediaries, and of course, yung mga umaasta, parang bangko, kaya sila tinawag na quasi banking function. So, basahin nyo na lang yan, no? So, gusto naman sabihin dyan that regardless whether it is banks or quasi-banks, of course, the tax rates applicable are these, no? So, we have 4. So, from 1%, 5%, 7%, 7%. Okay? 157. Of course, merong 0 kapag is dividends in the net income of subsidiaries. Sige, start tayo with the number 1. First one, interest income, commissions, discounts from lending activities, income from financial leasing on the basis of remaining maturities of instrument from which the receipts were derived. No? So, maturity period daw is 5 years. Okay, if the maturity period of 5 years or less, ang percentage tax is 5%. However, if more than 5 years, 1%. So, lagay tayo dito ng isang yan. Ay, masyadong malaki. Sige. So, sinasabi lang naman din yan. So, for example, this is now, no? Now. Yan. So, assuming that this one is a timetable, no? Wherein, wait lang, tagalin lang natin yan. Wherein, from now, yung present day or today, then for example, meron tayong, hindi yan, sa taas pala, sa baba pala. Okay, lending activities. So, of course, from now, if we have lending activities wherein tayo yung nag-earn ng interest income, no, lending activities or financial leases. Mamaya discuss rin natin yung financial leases. As long as tayo yung nakaka-receive ng applicable interest income, no, of course this one, yung mga loans, no, lahat ng mga loans na pinautang natin sa ating mga debtors is of course may mga maturity date yan, no. So from now until the maturity date, no, we're talking about no kung ilan pa yung natitirang taon doon sa ating pinautang, no? If the maturity date is 5 year or less, no? If the maturity is 5 year or less, 5 years or less, of course, the applicable interest rate is magkano? 5%, no? 5 year or less, so 5%. No? So, ayun naman gusto sabihin. However, if the interest is more than 5 years, for example, this one is yung ikaw 5 years, tapos ito yung now, tapos hindi pa maigsi, ibig sabihin, hindi pa umaabot doon, hindi pa 5 taon, ibig sabihin, mas mataas pa sa 5 taon, no? For example, ito yung mga nasa 7 years pa. Of course, the applicable percentage tax is 1%. No? So, kung mapapansin nyo, kapag malayo pa yung mismong lending activities or yung maturity date ng lending activities and the financial lease, of course, the applicable percentage tax is 1%. However, kung nalalapit na yung maturity date from the moment na mag 5 years hanggang dumating doon sa almost maturity date, of course, the applicable interest rate is mataas, nasa 5%. No? So, ganun lang naman din siya. Good. So, number 2, dividend and equity shares in the net income of subsidiaries. So, sinasabi lang naman yan, if yung commercial bank, ito yung, of course, for example, this one is Metro Bank. And of course, Metro Bank has other subsidiaries. No? For example, ang subsidiaries. Of course, this subsidiaries has own net income. And this subsidiary declare dividend. No? Ibig sabihin, if the subsidiary declare dividend and Metrobank is the parent company of this subsidiary, of course, the moment na mag-declare si subsidiary ng dividend, Metrobank will receive something, no? Kasi nga part owner o majority owner si Metrobank nitong subsidiary na to. If that's the case, kapag nag-declare ng dividend si subsidiary, may ma-receive si Metrobank. Sa part ni Metrobank, that is dividend income. No? Since this one is income, no, merong percentage tax. However, the rate applicable for this is 0% because Metrobank and subsidiary is within the same family, no? Family tree. So, ibig sabihin, since Metrobank and its subsidiaries are within the same family tree, therefore, any income derived among them, no, is subject, is of course, has 0% percentage tax, no? But this one, of course, the declaration must be coming from subsidiary, no? Must be coming from subsidiary to its parent, no? So, if the dividend is being declared by subsidiary and Metrobank has received something, the applicable percentage rate is 0%, no? So, ay lang naman gusto sabihin yan. Gets. So, basic lang naman din siya. Okay. So, for the 7%, so, basic na lang naman din yan. So, kapag hindi pumasok doon sa interest, income, commissions, discounts, kung hindi rin pumasok dito sa dividend, equity, no? So, therefore, ang gamitin mo na is yung 7%. So, ako ganun yung ginagawa ko siya. No. So sabi sa number 3 on royalties, rentals of properties from exchange on all other items treated as gross income, no. So hindi lang limited sa royalties, rentals, no, ng property, real or personal. So as long as it is treated as gross income under section 32 of NIRC, therefore the applicable percentage tax is 7%. And same with the on the net trading gains within the taxable year, no? Sige, for number 4, on net trading gains within the taxable year on foreign currency, debt securities, derivatives, and other similar financial instruments. So, gusto lang naman sabihin dyan na since this one is uh, pinag-uusapan na natin is debt trading gains, no? So, every month, it, wait lang, burahin ko muna to. Yan. So, sinasabi lang naman din yan since alam naman natin na medyo volatile yung gains related dito sa number 4, yung foreign currency, debt securities, derivatives, and other financial instrument. So, masyadong volatile kasi yung ay, ganyan ba yun? Basta ganyan yan. Masyadong volatile kasi yung yung flow no mong foreign currency, derivatives, and other financial instruments. No? And every month, of course, we need to declare or we need to file BIR forms. No? So, since masyadong volatile and kailangan nating mag-report every month kay BIR, so sinasabi lang naman dito na ang dapat kukunin natin is yung net trading gains within the taxable year. No? So, paano ba yan? So, sinasabi lang naman din dyan na kapag, for example, within taxable year on its first month, within taxable year, for example, the company is using calendar year. So, kapag calendar year, January 1 to December 31, 2021. So, calendar year ha. Alam naman natin we have the fiscal and the calendar year. So, kapag fiscal year, so iba yung magiging taxable year niya. Okay? Sige. For example, on January, doon sa foreign currency, nagkaroon ng tubo ng 200 pesos. Loss. No? Since this one is loss, so hindi tayo mag-a-apply ng percentage tax because percentage tax is being imposed only kapag nagkaroon ng gains. No? Sabi naman kasi dito sa number 4, on net trading gains. But since this one is lost, therefore there's no 7% percentage tax. Okay? However, on February, nagkaroon ng gains si company na amounted to 300 pesos. So, of course, this 300, hindi natin to i-declare no, as stand-alone. So, we need to cumulatively get the January and February, no? So, if that's the case, if we consider the January and we get the accumulated gains, no, within the taxable year, of course, the amount to be declared in the BIR form is 100 pesos. Since this one is net gains, no, within taxable year, therefore 100 pesos is yung subject sa 7%. Okay? So, sabi, net gains within taxable year. No? 7%. Okay? However, for example, last December 2020, this one, ito 2020 na. Dito mayroon December. Tapos meron dito 50 na gain, no? The question is, how much is to be declared, no, doon sa BIR form for January 2021? Of course, the taxable amount or the subject for checking if the amount is being subject to percentage tax is limited only to 200 pesos. Since 200 is loss, no, we do not declare any percentage tax applicable for this, no. So gusto lang sabihin dito na for December of or if the amount is not within the taxable year, hindi natin siya isasama. Since December 2020 is separate taxable year, previous taxable year yan, kahit nagkaroon yan ng gains noong December 2020, hindi na natin siya i-consider because that is not within the taxable year. So for January 2021, new taxable year, therefore yung amount lang is limited lang doon sa first month. No? Sa ayun lang naman yung gustong sabihin dito. No? So in-emphasize din natin yung net trading gains. So kapag may gains lang, doon lang tayo mag-a-apply ng 7%. And also, it must be within taxable year. No? Kapag ibang taxable year na, wag na natin isama. No? Kung nasa iba na, wag mo na pagpilitan. Charot. Sige. Okay. So, illustration number 1 tayo, basic computation. So, basic lang naman talaga to kasi nga, no? Sabi naman dito, basic computation. Orion Bank, interest receipts during the month. So, ang subject ng ina-assess natin si Orion Bank, no? So, baka magkalimutan. And of course, Orion Bank is included talaga doon sa bank and quasi bank. So, therefore, gagamitin natin yung 157 na percentage tax. So, nagkaroon daw siya ng interest receipts. Ibig sabihin, siya yung kumita, no? Okay, so this one is of course income ni Orion Bank, no? So therefore mag-a-apply tayo ng percentage tax. So number 1, interest income from loans maturing within 2 years. So malapit na siya, 'di ba? Within 2 years siya. Therefore 2.5 ito ay subject sa magkano? 5% percentage tax. Interest income from loans maturing more than 2 years but within 5 years. So within 5 years pa rin siya, therefore 5%. Excuse me. Okay? Interest income on loans maturing more than 5 years, kapag matagal pa, mababa lang yung percentage tax, 1%. No? Processing fee, rental income, so pasok yung 7%. So kahit anong income yan, as long as it is considered as gross receipts under the Section 32 of NIRC, therefore the applicable tax rate is 7%. Dividend income, so tayo ang naka-receive ng dividend income, therefore 0% percentage tax. Okay? So check natin sa baba kung tama. Of course, 3.5, 5%, 1.2, 1%, 307%, 207%, and also 50,000, 0%. Okay, tama naman. No? So, proceed tayo illustration number 2, meaning on the basis of remaining maturity. So, sabi daw, in 2019, East Bank had a 10-year loan with with a principal amount of 1 million pesos, which was issued on March 31, 2014. The loan pays 20,000 monthly interest income on the last day of every month. The applicable gross receipt tax for the monthly interest payment on this loan in 2014 shall be So in 2019, so since the conception of the loan started March 31, 2014, so ngayon 2019, 5 years na siya, no? So therefore, kung mapapansin nyo, in 2019 magkakaroon ng changes from 5% to 1%, no? So ayun naman ang gusto sabihin diyan. So kung mapapansin nyo, noong January 31, 2019, the applicable tax rate is 1% because the remaining maturity is more than 5 years pa. No? However, same with the February 28, 2019, 5 years and 1 month, therefore the applicable percentage tax is 1%. However, nung March 31 na, nung tumuntong na ng March 31 onwards, no, naging 5 years or less na. Therefore, kapag malapit na sa maturity, starting doon sa ika-5th year hanggang pababa, therefore the applicable tax rate will be changed into 5%. No, so ganun lang naman siya. For January, February, 1%, March and April, 5%. So ganun lang naman siya, no. So madali lang naman. Okay. So there are some gross receipts wherein they are subject to withholding tax. Therefore, the amount being received by the company is already net ng withholding tax. No? One of the best example of that is the interest on our savings deposits. No, so if you are a company and you are also depositing certain amount of money in other banks, no, so you will receive interest income which is net of withholding tax. No, so to illustrate, what I'm saying is ito, the United Kalinga Unibank, so most probably so sure tayo na bangko yan, no? Receive a total 8 million interest income. So siya yung naka-receive ng interest income from its short-term deposits with other banks, no? So madali naman intindihin yung illustration. The interest was net of 20% final income tax, no? So netted na daw yung 8 million na na-receive, no? So if that's the case, so para ma-apply natin yung applicable percentage tax, kailangan natin kunin muna yung gross interest income, which is of course we are going to divide 8 million to applicable final income tax na 20%. So 8 million divide mo by 80%. Kasi 8 million, it is the net of the final tax. Therefore, 80% yung gagamitin natin. Therefore, our gross receipts must be 10 million. 10 million is the amount subject doon sa 7% na percentage tax. Therefore, 10 million multiplied by 7%, 700,000. So, ganun lang naman siya. So, lagi i-check if the gross receipt is a net of withholding VAT, withholding tax. If it is netted, you must always get the gross receipts before you apply the applicable percentage tax, no? So, ganun naman siya kadali. Net trading gains within taxable year, I believe na-discuss na natin yan. So, kung mapapansin nyo, the net trading gain noong April is 10,000 loss, noong May is 20,000 gain. No, since April and May is within taxable year, in filing May form, of course, ang kukunin lang natin is si 10,000 pesos. No? So, ito. Yan. Okay. However, for April, since this one is net trading loss, and according to NAR lang naman, ang kukunan lang natin is si net trading gain. So, in this case, since loss siya, wala tayong applicable percentage tax. Okay? And ito rin yung sinasabi ko kanina, if not within taxable year, so 2015 is separate taxable year, 2016 is also a separate taxable year. Therefore, hindi na natin kukunin yung net trading gains, no, since they are separate taxable years naman. So, in January 2016 filing, ang gagawin lang natin is yung 20,000. So, 20,000 multiplied by 7%. Therefore, nasa 14,000. Ay, magkano yun? 140 ba? 20 times 0.07, 1,400. No? So, ganun lang naman din siya. Sige. Dito is almost same dun sa una kasi is banks and quasi banks. However, for this one is financial intermediaries without quasi banking function, no? Ibig sabihin, hindi sila tumatanggap ng mga deposits coming from depositors. Okay? So, sige. So, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, finance and operating list. So, doon kasi sa number 1, kahit yung nasa taas, sinasabi is interest income, commission discounts, lending activities income, and financial leasing. No? Sige, explain lang natin to, and I believe it must be being discussed doon sa previous accounting subject nyo, but kung nakatulog kayo noon, sige, try lang natin i-discuss, no? Yung finance, we have two types of leases. We have the finance and operating lease, no? The finance lease, of course, mangungupahan ka yan, but after a certain years is, ikaw na magiging may-ari, no? Kumbaga, the best example of finance lease is rent to own. No, ayan yung layman term niya, rent to own. No? So, ibig sabihin, kung ikaw yung lessor, ikaw yung nagpapaupa, after some time, yung binabayaran ni lessee, yung nangungupahan, part nun ay bayad niya doon sa doon sa inuupahan niya. No? Finance lease, rent to own, ibig sabihin, yung upa na binabayaran niya sa iyo, part ng amount na yon ay yung bayad niya doon sa bahay, kung bahay man yon, no? And of course, also part of that is the interest income related doon sa rent to own scheme. Okay? However, for operating lease, this is sole rental lang talaga. The whole amount being paid by the lessee is considered already as income ni lessor or nangungupahan. Unlike kapag finance lease, merong percentage na interest lang, may percentage na bayad doon sa inuupahan niyang bahay. No? So, ayun yung difference niya. Sige. To start with, illustration number 1, Him Finance Corporation imports machinery from abroad and sells them under a deferred financing scheme. So, okay. So, parang rent to own. Ang pinapaupahan nila is machinery. So, on February 1, it sold a machine with acquisition cost 27571 for 3 million. Payable 100,000 starting March 1, 2019. The loan interest is 8% effective interest rate. No. Hindi ko to discuss kasi this one is amortization table. Pero, kapag diniscuss ko kasi ito, kaya ko naman i-discuss. Ang problema lang kasi is masyadong takaw oras. Sige, happy na natin mabilisan, no? So, kapag finance lease kasi, of course, aside from the nominal rate, meron na tayong tatawag na 8% effective interest rate. No, 8% effective interest rate, this one is the rate being applied dito sa amortization table natin. First of all is you need to get the difference between the acquisition cost and the selling price of the subject item. In this case, the machineries. So, okay, the difference between the 257,710 and 300,000, actually that is the interest rate. Now 300,000 minus the 257,710, that is 42,290. 42,290. So actually 42,290 ay yan yung mismong total interest income, no, which is allocated within the covered period. No, so kapag inad natin 20,617 plus 14,266 plus 7,407, so mapapansin nyo that is same amount, 42,290. So in this illustration, sinasabi lang naman din na ang usapan nila based on their contract na si lessee ay magbabayad 100,000 per month starting March 1, 2019. So, starting March 1, 2019, yung 100,000 na ibabayad ni lessee part niyan ay mapupunta sa interest and yung part niyan is mapupunta sa principal. So, paano ba natin kinukuha yung part ng interest income? So, basic lang naman din yan. 257,710, that is our acquisition cost. I-multiply lang natin yan sa 8%, 257,7108 is, of course, 20,617. So, on March 1, 2019, the applicable interest income is 20,617 by getting the product of acquisition cost and also acquisition cost and applicable effective interest rate na 8%, which is 20,617. Yung interest income is nakomputan natin. Therefore, 100,000 minus 20,617. Makukuha natin yung 79,383. Ito yung i-deduct natin sa principal na 300,000. Ay, sorry. Sa net present value natin na 257,710. So, 257,710 minus 79,383, ang lalabas is 178. 178,327. So, ito na yung magiging present value natin. 178,327, i-multiply lang natin sa 8%. 178,327 times 8%. Makukuha natin yung interest income for April 1, 2019 na 14,266. So, sa next 100,000 na ibabayad ni Leslie, 14,266 ay mapupunta sa interest income and the rest is mapupunta sa deduction sa principal na 85,734. So 178,327 minus 85,737, ang lalabas is 92,593. Get nyo ulit yung 8% yan para makuha natin yung interest income applicable for May 1, 2019. Ang lalabas is 7,407. 7,407, that is the applicable interest income related doon sa third collection na 100,000. Therefore, the difference is, ayun na yung i-apply natin sa principal amount. No, na 92,593. No. So, kapag kinuha mo yung total na to, ang lalabas dyan is 257,710. Excuse me. Sama ko na sa pag-record ko yung ubo ko. So, yung 42,290, that is, of course, ito yung yung subject sa percentage tax na 7%. No? 7%. Iyan. So, that's it lang naman. So, binilisan ko na yung amortization table since this one, at your stage, third year, second year, especially if you are MA students, you must be familiar with amortization table. No? So, hindi ko na siya tinuro in detail. So, 1, 2, 3 ko na lang siya diniscuss. No? Sige. Operating list. No, tulad sinabi ko, it is of course a sole rental. Yung ma-receive mo na collection, of course, that is 100% rental income. Therefore, the rental income ay yung subject sa 7% percentage tax. No, yun lang naman din. Ito, pre-termination of loans. So, tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, we have different rate. Depende sa maturity, no, ng loans natin. So, anong magiging situation if nagkaroon ng pre-termination of loans? Ibig sabihin, dapat daw 10 years pa yung maturity. However, itong si debtor natin, gusto, bayaran na kagad since marami na siyang pera. Bayaran na kagad kahit hindi pa natatapos yung 10 years. If that's the case, magkakaroon tayo ng adjustment doon sa final tax. No? Alam naman natin kasi, kapag 10-year loan yan, from 6th year to 10th year, from 5th year 1 month to 10th year, ika-10th year niya, the applicable final tax is 5%. 1% lang. No? However, from 5th year until maturity date, the applicable tax rate is 5%. So, ibig sabihin, kung ito pa yung binabayaran kung ibig sabihin, ito pa lang yung subject sa ating final tax. However, pagdating dito, binayaran na kagad ni debtor, no? Binayaran na kagad ni debtor yung kanyang loan, kabuuan. Therefore, magkano lang yung naging subject sa 5%? Dito, 1% yung in-apply. Dito, 5%. So, ibig sabihin, magkano lang yung kinita ni BIR, no? If that's the case daw, nagkaroon ng pre-termination of loans, as if magkakaroon ng new maturity date dito na. Therefore, from dito hanggang 5 years, no, dapat ang gagamitan daw is 5%, hindi daw 1%. So, magkakaroon tayo ng adjustment doon sa previous na binayaran natin. Okay? Okay? So, walang lusot kahit magkaroon ng pre-termination ng loans. No? So, mautak si BIR. Kung mautak ang mga Pilipino, mas mautak si BIR. So, to illustrate the concept, of course, sinasabi lang dyan that on January 1, 2015, si Pinoy Bank, so, don't forget that that is only applicable to banks and financial institution, loan 1 million to a client payable within 10 years. The loan pays 10% payable December 31 with the first interest due in December 31, 2015. Okay. So, January 1 daw na yung issuance, pero ang first payment daw na interest is after a year pa. Okay? So, sabi daw, after certain time, noong June 30, 2011 daw, is nagkaroon ng full payment ng loan. So, maaga niyang terminate yung kanyang loan. So, okay. So, originally, no, this one is the applicable tax rate. So, from December 31, 2015, 16, 17, 18, of course, the applicable percentage tax lang is 1% because more than 5 years pa naman, tama, no? However, for 2019, 2020, so 5% na siya since pasok na siya doon sa covered na 5 year or less, no? Since nagkaroon ng pretermination ng loan, of course, kailangan din natin baguhin yung applicable percentage tax. So, tulad na sinabi natin, as if magkakaroon ng new maturity date. So, kung ang dating maturity date is December, after 10 years, so mga 2025, no, since nagkaroon ng pretermination noong 2021, so, as if the new, our new maturity date is June 30, 2021. No? So, if that's the case, no, 2015 pa lang, 2015 na lang yung 1% percentage tax. However, starting 2016 onwards, the applicable percentage tax na is 5%. No? So, kapag kinumpit nyo until 2021, of course, the total amount, no, na dapat bayaran kay BIR is 28,500. However, based doon sa previous returns na binayad natin kay BIR, ang binayaran lang natin is 14,000. Therefore, the difference between the two, ito yung ibabayad natin for our filing this June 30, 2021. 14,500. So, walang lusot, no? This one is adjustment because of pre-termination ng loan. So, ganun lang naman siya. So, masaya pala ito, no? Percentage tax related doon to sa services under the banks and non-financial institution performing quasi-banking. Sige, that's it for our first mnemonic, yung letter B sa BCA flow. Yan. Sige. Okay. So, proceed tayo with the second letter on our mnemonic. We have the BCAF flow. So, our second letter is letter I. Of course, it pertains to international carriers. No? So, mapapansin nyo, meron tayong isang slide dito, no? Kasi, actually, gamitin lang natin yung si chapter 4 natin na illustration para mas madali, no? So, same concept, no? Hindi na natin kailangan pahabain pa. So, as long as you understand the illustration on chapter 4, so, dito yung outgoing na cargo, that is the 3%, no? Percentage tax. So, ayun naman gusto sabihin dyan, no? International carriers, tapos yung cargo niya is 3% outgoing. So, yun lang. So, hindi na natin pahabain pa. Domestic, foreign, okay. So, yun lang naman. Then, proceed tayo with the percentage tax on domestic carriers and keepers of garage. No? So, same lang din yung sa local, but unfortunately, grabe naman yung wordings ko, no? So, by land, so we have the local, Then, passengers. Okay. Local passenger, domestic. Okay. Siyempre, by land. Okay. Except land. Okay. So, with the carriers and keepers of garage, no? So, same illustration, pero dito lang tayo sa bandang domestic, wherein generally, the applicable business tax is the value added tax 12%. However, if the vehicle is by land, so therefore papasok siya dito sa apat, bus, taxi, jeep, car. Of course, the applicable tax rate is 3%, no, passenger. Okay? To start with, before we start with the illustration for international carriers and common carriers and keepers of garage, so you must also be familiar with this, the minimum presumptive gross receipts wherein sinasabi lang dito that regardless whether these vehicles, jeepney, bus, taxis, and car for hire ay pumasada or hindi, it is there's assumption na nakareceive sila ng minimum gross receipts, no? Depende kung anong klase ng vehicle meron sila. No, for jeepney for hire, it is assumed in quarterly basis that he will receive he receives already for 2,400 if his route is within Manila and other cities, no? However, kapag provincial, it is assumed that he received 1,200 in quarterly basis. So on so forth, no? So whether hindi sila pumasada kahit nakatanggal lang yung kanilang mga sasakyan, so sinasabi ng tax code na meron silang natanggap, no? Meron silang kinita. Okay? Sige. So of course, the whichever is higher naman, no, between the minimum presumptive gross receipts versus doon sa actual gross receipts nila, no, whichever is higher. So kung hindi sila kumita, syempre kung hindi sila pumasada, therefore the higher between the actual collection and minimum presumptive gross receipts is this one, no? Minimum presumptive gross receipts yung mas mataas. However, kapag pumasada sila, nagkaroon ng actual collection or cash receipts in money, it is assumed na mas mataas yun, no? Pero kung hindi pa rin mataas yun, ito pa rin gagamitin natin, yung minimum presumptive gross receipts. Okay? So, to illustrate muna yung international carrier, so proceed muna tayo with sample regarding this. No? Of course, we're going to use our summary dito sa kaliwa. Sige. The Philippine operation of Malaysian Airlines, of course, Malaysian Airlines, that is international carrier. Okay. Receipts for the month of April 2020. So, we have the passengers baggage, incoming and outgoing, of course using our summary dito sa left side. Of course masasagutan natin tong problem na to, no? So we have the carriers international, of course. So first one is passenger, incoming, outgoing. So for incoming, that is exempted, outgoing, that is exempted, incoming exempted, outgoing exempted, therefore the 60 million is also exempted. And yung total for baggage, international cargo, for incoming, that is exempted. However, for outgoing, there's applicable percentage tax which is 3%. So this one I may 3% daw, no? 3% which is 11 million multiplied by 3% outgoing baggage. Therefore, the tax due or the percentage tax due is 330,000. So tanging ito lang yung subject sa tax which is percentage tax na 3%. Okay? Okay. So ganoon naman siya kadali. So kapag ito in-apply nyo dito, so same concept lang naman din. Sige. So kung hanap tayong problem na mayroong gumamit ng minimum presumptive gross receipts, I believe this one. Ay, hindi. Hindi pala yun. So, ito muna tayo. Illustration number 1, before pala muna tayo mag-proceed doon, dito muna tayo sa number 1. So, we have the operator daw siya ng 5 jeepneys and 2 buses. Itong tricycle, of course, hindi naman siya kasama dito. Kasi this one tricycle ay subject siya sa local contractor's tax under the LGUs or the local government code. Therefore, ang subject lang is si jeepney at si buses. However, no, so kung based dito sa ating illustration for carriers, local passengers, domestic, generally domestic passengers carriers, they are subject to value added tax. However, if the vehicle is by land, therefore then papasok siya dito sa apat, bus, taxi, jeep or car, that is subject sa 3% percentage tax. For this one, yung 150 and 300 or 350 in total, that is subject sa 3% percentage tax. However, for cargoes, that is subject sa value added tax na 12%. So, dito meron 12% na value added tax. Okay? So, illustration number 2. So, Mang Bentong, operator daw ng taxi and car for hire. The taxi reported gross receipts, 26,000. Okay, yung total ng kinita niya daw is 26,000. The car for hire was indefinite garage. So, nakatambak lang daw yung kanyang car for hire. Okay. And, yung chauffeur niya is, okay. So, under repair yung kanyang sasakyan kasi nabangga ng boss. Sige, sakit naman nun. So, yung actual nun is 600, no? So, 26,600 according dun sa minimum presumptive gross receipts. For taxi is 1,200, for car for hire is 1,000. So, i-compare lang natin yung minimum versus the actual. Therefore, kukunin lang natin yung higher amount, no? 26 versus 1, to of course 26,000 yung higher. 600 versus 1,000, 1,000 yung higher. Therefore, the taxable amount is 27,000 multiplied by the applicable tax rate na 3%, therefore 810. No, so ganun lang naman siya kadali. So that is only the minimum presumptive gross receipts is only applicable for common carriers and keepers of garage, no? So yun lang naman. Okay, proceed na tayo with the fourth, no, letter sa ating mnemonic na BCAP flow. So the fourth is amusement taxes. Of course, straightforward lang naman din to. Kung ano yung nakalagay dito, of course, ayun lang yung magiging subject sa percentage tax. Of course, places of boxing exhibitions, of course, that is 10%. So, isipin nyo na lang lagi na 10% boxing, no? Okay, professional basketball games. So, professional, no? Professional, so, basketball games. So, professional yan ha. Kapag amateur, of course, hindi siya subject sa percentage tax. It could be subject sa value added tax. Okay? Third is cockpits, cabarets, and clubs. So, tatlong C. We have the cockpits, sabungan, cabarets is, hindi ko alam yan. Parang ano ata yun, disco-discohan din yan. Something gayon. And of course, clubs, no? So, yung pang matatanda ng gawain. So, 18%, no? So, parang 18 years old. So, kailangan 18 years old, di ba, bago ka pumasok sa mga ganyan. So, 18% yung ilagay niya. So, ganun na lang isipin nyo. 18 years old para makapasok dyan. Kaya, the applicable percentage tax is 18%. Di ba? Galing-galing, no? High alay and race track. So, yung high alay is, I believe, wala na yan ngayon. Kung meron man is super dalang na, pero alam ko wala na yan eh, no? So high alay, it's a game, ball game din siya na parang merong ganitong tool na ginagamit, tapos ilalagay mo yung bola dito, no? Tapos once na nasa low mo using that, ihagis mo ulit yan sa dingding, tapos Kapag naihagis mo yung dingding, kailangan ang sasalin niyan is yung other player, no? So, ganun lang yung laro niyan. Kuha, tapos hagis sa dingding, tapos yung kabila na naman kukuha, tapos hagis sa dingding. No? So, yun lang yung alam ko related sa high alay. Pero on how to bet, I mean kung paano pumusta, hindi ko alam. So, regarding dyan, high alay and racetrack, so, the applicable percentage tax is 30%. No? Sige. Yung mga amusement taxes na hindi minention dito sa apat na to, of course, it is expected that they are subject sa value added tax. No? So, ganun lang naman din. Sige. Of course, that is only general rule. Meron tayong exemption, especially if we're talking about the professional boxing. So, sinasabi dito that the gross receipts from professional boxing are exempt from percentage tax under the following conditions. Of course, World or Oriental Championship. Wow, di ba? At least one of the contenders is a Filipino citizen. So, ginanap sa Pilipinas, one of the contenders is Filipino, therefore, that could be exempted sa 3%, 10% percentage tax. The promoter ay Filipino citizens or 60% or a corporation wherein 60% of ownership is owned by Filipino citizens. Okay. So, ayun naman yung exemption. And kailangan daw bayaran within 20 days after the end of the quarter. Kung January to March, therefore, kailangan niya bayaran ng April 20. Okay? So, ganun lang naman siya. So, that's it. We're going to proceed with the illustration. Okay, so illustration na tayo. Start na tayo with the illustration 1, places of exhibition. So, papasok dito yung 10% o kaya 15%, no? Depende kung anong klaseng exhibitions yan. Okay, Northdown Incorporated, okay? Sige, basahin nyo na lang yan, no? So, sinasabi niyan lang dyan that professional non-titled boxing bouts, okay, 200. Okay, professional Philippine Championship 300,000. Okay, professional basketball games. Okay. Okay, for boxing the 200 and 300, that is subject sa 10% percentage tax. For professional basketball games 400,000, 15% percentage tax. Amateur basketball games hindi kasali, and of course the musical artist is hindi rin kasali, no? So, because they are subject differently to other business tax, which is the value added tax. Therefore, 200, 300 multiplied by 10%, 50. 400 multiplied by 50, 60. So, therefore, the percentage tax ni North Dorm is 110,000. Of course, it is assumed that North Dorm is VAT registered, no? Okay, however, if North Dorm is not subject or is not registered as a VAT person, therefore siya ay subject sa 3% general tax. So lagi naman ganun, no? Sige, illustration number 2, cabaret. So of course the applicable tax rate is 18%, no? So 200 and 800, so lahat ng receipts mo, receipts and sales of food, that is subject sa 18% percentage tax. Therefore, 1 million multiplied by 1,880,000. Hotel disco, of course, 18% din yan. So, sige, room rental, so hindi yan. Okay, so, yung applicable sa hotel, syempre hindi yun subject sa percentage tax. However, doon sa disco, papasok kasi sa clubs, diba? Yung 1,200,000, that is subject sa 18% percentage tax. Okay? Okay. Pegasus Sport Complex Cockpit, no? Okay. 200, 800, 400. Okay. So, rental income, no? Ng concession niya. Ibig sabihin, nagpapaupa sila doon sa mga nagtitinda doon sa loob ng cockpit. Therefore, the 1,450,000 subject sa 18% percentage tax. Therefore, ayun yung percentage tax. Then, also, sinasabi din daw sa illustration number 5, if si Mrs. Tinola Casador ay hindi daw VAT taxpayer, if that's the case, of course, ay wait lang, sino ba si Tinola? Mhm. Uh, okay. Sige. Okay. So, ito, sorry. Operated by Pegasus. So, medyo nagulantang naman ako doon. So, sinabi daw sa illustration number 4, what if daw the restaurant is operated by Mrs. Tinola Casador, no, non-VAT taxpayer. Of course, 400,000 lang yan. Therefore, hindi na aabot sa threshold natin. Therefore, the 3% general percentage tax yung applicable for Mrs. Casador. So, lagi naman ganun, no? So, ganun na naman siya ka-basic. So, ganun yun lang. And of course, the illegal cockpit. So, ito yung mga hindi registered, no, to operate as cockpits. Therefore, still subject sila sa 18% gross receipts. No? So, since hindi sila naka-register, so paano sila kukolektahin? So, yun lang ang problema, no? But of course, kapag nahuli yan and nalaman kung kailan pa sila nag-ooperate tapos wala pa silang business permit o di rin sila naka-registered kay BIR, so doble-doble yung surges, interest, and penalty, no? So, ang daming babayaran because of unregistered business, no? Sige, yun lang. Okay, proceed tayo with the another letter in our mnemonic Bika flow, which is of course the letter P, or the Philippine Stock Exchange. Okay, so of course, and tax on sale, barter, or exchange of stocks listed and trade through the PSE. No, so of course, it must be through trading facilities of the PSE, Philippine Stock Exchange. Okay. So, sinasabi lang naman na that the applicable tax rate is 60% of 1%, no? And is based on gross selling price or gross value in money in the shares of stock sold. Okay? And of course, it must be remit. Okay. The same shall be paid is collected by the stockbroker who affected the sale. Stockbroker shall remit the tax to the BR 5 banking days from the date of collection. Sige, illustration, Orion Securities affected the sale. So, siya doon nagbenta following during the okay. So, nagkaroon daw ng sales wherein affected kasama si Orion Securities. So, of course, since this one is through PSE, so dito lang tayo focus. Dito kasi is directly na dun sa mismong buyer. So, huwag na natin pakalaman yun nasa baba. Of course, ang owner daw after the sale is si client na. So, since tayo ang nagbenta, therefore, ito lang yung ating kukunin. 3,284,000 multiply by the 60% of 1%. Of course, that is 37,200 pesos. Okay. So, proceed na tayo on this part related sa Philippine Stock Exchange. Of course, in selling shares of stock, so it could be through PSE, it could also be through direct buyers, and also the other option is through uh, initial public offering. No? Sige. So, proceed tayo with the initial public offering. The sale, barter, exchange, or other disposition through IPO of shares of stock in a closely held corporation is subject to the following tax rate based on a gross selling price or gross value in money in proportion to the shares sold. Okay, so daming kuda, no? So, ibig sabihin lang yan that the IPO is being conducted by a previous closely held corporation. Ibig sabihin, if you are closely held corporation and you would like to sell it, uh, I mean, you would like to sell your shares of stock to the public, no? Alam naman natin that closely held corporations, this is a type of corporation wherein the stock owners are limited only to the number of stockholders. So sabi dito, not more than 20 individuals. So if the stockholders are more than 20 na, of course, they are not considered anymore as closely held corporation. So, alam naman natin that the corporations with many stockholders, of course, magandang bentahe yan. Especially if the company would like to expand, would like to have additional capital for their new projects, etc., etc. But of course, meron rin mga advantage yung closely held corporations because the decision being made by the board of directors are only limited only to this less than 20 people, no? Sige. Paano nga ba? Anong sense ba bakit natin pinag-uusapan tong IPO? Okay? So, of course, during the IPO, ibig sabihin, the moment that the closely held corporation decide to open, no, the their stocks publicly, ibig sabihin, magbebenta na sila sa public, no, hindi na limited doon sa 20 stockholders na meron sila. If that's the case, so meron tayong tatawag na primary offering, ibig sabihin, these are unissued shares to be sold in the IPO. So, these shares na ibebenta is hindi pa nai-issue. Ibig sabihin, nakatenga lang doon sa mismong company. These are unissued shares, ika nga, no? And these unissued shares are being offered publicly, no? So, ibebenta nila to sa public. Second is second offering or secondary offering, issued shares or shares of existing shareholders who wish to sell their shares in the IPO. For example, one of the stockholders doon sa less than 20 na stockholders doon sa closely held corporation would like to sell part or in total his or her stocks publicly during the initial public offering. So, if one of the stockholders decide to offer his or her own stocks, ang tawag doon is secondary offering. Okay? Okay, so meron naman formula dyan para madali lang. Proportion of share offering. Of course, primary shares, ito yung ibebenta ni closely held corporations. Ibebentang unissued shares divided by outstanding shares after IPO. No? And secondary offering, secondary shares, ito yung existing owned by stockholder na isasama niya dito sa IPO. So, formula, secondary shares over outstanding shares before IPO. Okay? So, para mas madali natin maintindihan, proceed tayo with the illustration number 1. Sige. Queen Corporation owned by the following shareholders. So, kung mapapansin nyo, only limited lang stockholders. Less than 20, kaya ang tawag sa kanila ay closely held corporation. So, dali-dali lang naman, di ba? So, the Queen Corporation has 5 stockholders, namely Almanac, Borcat, Damki, and Eagle, wherein Queen Corporation conducted an IPO involving 40,000 unissued shares. So, ibibenta ni Queen Corporation yung 40,000 na unissued. Ibig sabihin itong 40,000, hindi ito kasama sa 100,000 na existing outstanding shares na, no? To be sold to public at 5 pesos per share. Okay. Okay. Mr. Board, of course, this one 40,000, that is, of course, the primary offering, no? Kasi unissued shares ang nagbenta si Queen Corporation through IPO. That is initial or primary offering. Okay? However, for Mr. Board, decided to sell 15,000. Mr. Board is an existing stockholder. Ito pala, stockholder. At out of 20,000 ang pagmamayari niya, only 50% ang gusto niya ibenta through IPO at same price, 5 pesos per share. The 15,000 being offered by Mr. Board to public is what we call secondary offering. Okay? So, of course, basic na basic lang, using the proportion of IPO shares, 40,000, that is the unissued share being offered by Queen Corporation publicly, over 100 plus 40, because based on our formula, it must be after IPO, outstanding shares after IPO. Since this one is the existing shares, since IPO yan, after IPO, so idadagdag natin yung initial offer na 40,000. Therefore, 40 over 140, ang lalabas is 28.50%. No? Okay. Secondary offering, which is pertaining to 15,000 kay Mr. Bor. 15,000 over 100,000, because according to our formula, proportion of share offering, it must be before IPO. Therefore, 15 over 100, the proportion is 15%. Okay? So, ano namang sense na itong 28.57 and 50%? Anong purpose yan? Because, ito yung gagamitin natin para makompute kung magkano ba yung IPO tax, initial public offering tax. Of course, dito sa taas, may table dyan. Up to 25%, from 0 to 25%, the IPO tax is 4%. More than 25%, but not more than 33, 1/3%, of course that is 2%. However, if it's become more than 33 1/3%, the applicable IPO rate or IPO tax is 1%. So in our illustration, of course 28.57, this is more than 25%, but not more than 33 1/3%. Therefore, the applicable IPO tax is 2%. For 15% secondary offer percentage, of course 15% is not more than or not over 25%. Therefore, the applicable IPO tax rate is 4%. So with that, 40,000 multiplied by 5, of course shares is being multiplied by the selling price per share, no? So it must be 80,000, sorry, 40,000 times 5, 200,000 rather, multiplied by 2%. Therefore, our IPO tax is 4,000. For secondary offering, 15,000 multiplied by 5 pesos equals 75,000. Multiplied by 4%, the IPO tax for secondary offering is 3,000 pesos SSS. No? So therefore, the total tax applicable for the IPO offering applicable for IPO is 77,000, 4,000, 3,000 for primary and secondary offering respectively. Ano ba yun? Yung P-F na pagpapalit ko. Sige. Yun lang naman. So this one is the summary of rules on sales of stock. So of course, sinasabi lang naman na before the IPO, of course that is still a closely held corporation if the corporation issued shares, no tax being imposed. However, if the shareholder would like to sell it to other stockholders, of course it must be the result must be with gain. Therefore, the applicable tax is capital gains tax. However, if the closely held corporation would like to sell stocks publicly for the primary offering, there would be a IPO tax applicable for that. Same with the secondary offering, meron din tayong IPO tax for that. However, after the IPO or initial public offering, any shares being issued by the corporation, there's no applicable tax. However, if the existing stockholders would like to sell portion or in total his or her stocks to others, there would be a stock transaction tax which is 60% of 1%. No? So, ganun lang naman siya. Okay, proceed tayo with the franchise. So we're done with the recap. So, proceed tayo with the flow. So, the first letter of flow is letter F, which pertains to franchises. So, sinasabi, generally franchises are vatable. So, almost lahat ng franchises are vatable. However, there are two, no, types of franchises that are specifically subject sa percentage tax. Of course, the applicable tax rates are 3 and 2%. Of course, if the franchise is related to radio or television broadcasting whose annual gross receipts do not exceed 10 million. So, hindi daw lalagpas sa 10 million. If that's the case, radio, television, hindi nag-exceed ng 10 million. Therefore, the applicable tax is percentage tax, which is 3%. Dapat hindi lalagpas sa 10 million. However, if the radio or television broadcasting companies exceed this threshold, of course, ang magiging applicable tax for them ay value-added tax na. Gets? Sige. Gas and water utilities, there's no threshold as long as services, ito gas and water, therefore the applicable tax is still percentage tax with 2% rate. No, so ganun na naman siya kadali. Of course, tulad ng sinabi natin, same with our previous chapter, if the company or if the radio or television broadcasting companies opt to register as VAT person, of course, even the gross receipts, annual gross receipts by them do not exceed 10 million. Therefore, they still need to pay business tax as value added tax, no? So, as long as VAT registered ka, ginusto mo yan, therefore, ang babayaran mo ay VAT, hindi percentage tax. So, ganun lang naman siya kadali. So, illustration number 1, sabi daw si Radio Filipino, exceeded 10 million, last year pa daw to, pero this year daw, ang kanyang expectation as to their annual receipt this year is 6 million. Since lumagpas ka na ng 10 million, therefore, the 6 million ay still subject sa value added tax. No? So, ganun lang siya kadali. Gas utilities, City Gas Corporation consistently had gross sales exceeding 10 million every year. Since wala naman tayong threshold as long as gas utility yan, kahit lumagpas ka pa sa 10 million or whatsoever, that is subject sa 2% percentage tax. Okay? Sige, 2% franchise tax which is 12 million multiplied by 2%. Okay. Same concept with water utilities. So, that's it for the franchise. So, ganun lang naman din siya. Proceed na tayo with the third of the last letter doon sa ating mnemonic na B cap flow. So, nandito na tayo sa letter L which pertains sa life insurance. So, of course, no, so, a person, company, corporation doing life insurance business in the Philippines is subject to 2% on premiums collected. Pag sinabing premiums, that is the amount being collected by the insurer to its policy owners or ito yung mga insured persons, no? So, for example, si Sun Life, so since dyan naman ako affiliated and ako, no? So, ako yung insured person kasi kumuha ko ng insurance with Sun Life. So, ako si insured person. Si Ogie, nagbabayad yan monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually. So, yung amount na binabayad ko kay Sun Life, ang tawag doon ay premium. Okay? Premium. So, the amount or the premium collected by Sun Life is subject sa 2% percentage tax. Okay? Okay. So, ganun lang naman siya. But of course, 2% of the premiums collected, of course, we all know naman na kapag nakolekta natin yung kapag nakolekta ni Sun Life yung premiums, hindi naman 100% automatic ayun na kagad yung subject sa final tax. Siyempre, hindi natin sinasama yung mga premiums na nagkaroon ng refund within 6 months after payment on account of rejection of return for other reasons. So, hindi natin sinasama yung mga premiums na ganun, no? Sometimes kasi, especially now, no, bayad muna ng premium or initial payment, then doon pa lang i-assess if you are still insurable or not, no? So, ganun. Or if in case na after the assessment, underwriting, sabi ni Sun Life, you are not insurable, therefore, the amount being paid previously is i-refund sa'yo, no? So, ganun naman yan. And of course, once refunded, that amount is not part of the gross receipts of the insurance company. So, ganun lang naman siya. Sige, proceed muna tayo with letter C. Laktawan muna natin yung letter B. Letter C, premiums from life insurance of non-residents receive from abroad by branches of domestic corporation. So, it must be foreign consumption. Naka-receive ka lang dito sa Pilipinas, but it's applicable for the branch outside the Philippines. So, therefore, dumaan lang sa'yo, and still that is foreign consumption. Therefore, not part of the gross receipts of the life insurance company. Okay? Number 4, excess of premiums on variable contracts in excess of the amounts necessary to insure the lives. Okay. So, each coverage sa life insurance meron yung applicable cost. For example lang, 1 million, the amount coverage or the cost related to the 1 million coverage is nasa, assuming lang ha, 19,528. Example lang. So, of course, ito yung babayaran dapat ni insured person every year. No? Okay? So, sometimes, ang ginagawa ng mga agent or ng advisor with the consent of their clients or future policy owners is ginagawang saktuhan na ginagawang 20,000. Of course, the difference, ang tawag doon is yung 472, ayan, ang tawag dyan is excess of premiums. So, itong excess of premiums, of course, hindi siya part ng 2% because that is more on investment. Kaya inaalis din siya doon sa gross receipts ni life insurance. That's gets? So, ayun yung excess of premium. So, para maging saktuhan lang yung binabayaran ni insured person. So, nilalagyan ng excess of premium. Okay? So, ayun yung letter A, letter B, and letter D. For letter C, so, proceed muna tayo dito sa types of insurance business para ma-explain natin yung reinsurance premiums. For example, si Sun Life, no? Tapos meron siyang kliyente, for example, ako. So, ang tawag dyan ay direct insurance, meaning the insurer ay nag-provide ng insurance services kay client niya. Okay? Okay. So, if si Sun Life ay kumuha ng insurance din just to allocate risk involved doon sa pinaka-client niya na si Ogie, ang gagawin niya is kukuha rin siya ng insurance. Sa tawag doon is reinsurance, no? Kumbaga, ipapasa niya yung risk doon sa other company. So, si Sun Life, tapos other entity, no? Siyempre, kung magkano yung binayad niya kay Ogie, part nun is mapupunta kay other entity. If that's the case, no? Hindi natin isasama yung binayad ni Sun Life papunta dun sa other entity, no? Kasi the moment na si Ogie nagbayad kay Sun Life, the amount being paid is subject already sa 2%, no? Percentage tax. The moment na nagbayad si Sun Life kay entity, insurer, the amount being paid is hindi na isasama ni reinsurer. I mean, hindi na subject sa percentage tax. Kasi, ang mangyayari ay magkakaroon na ng double taxation. No? So, ikaw si reinsurer, kapag meron kang mga life insurance companies na nagpapa-insure din sa'yo, so the amounts being collected is hindi natin isasama sa gross receipts because hindi dapat sila subject sa 2% percentage tax. Okay? So, ganun lang naman ang ibig sabihin yan. Okay? So, reinsurers. Kapag si reinsurers ay uh, nagpa-insure pa sa other insurance company, no, just to allocate then the risk involved, ang tawag dito ay retrocessionaires, no. First level direct insurance, kapag si direct insurance nagpa-insure, ang tawag doon reinsurer. Kapag si reinsurer nagpa-insure, ang tawag doon is retrocessionaires, no. Ganun lang naman siya. So leveling, no, ikaw, mama mo, lolo mo, ganun lang naman siya. Proceed muna tayo with illustration number 1. Absolute insurance underwrites both life and non-life insurance policies. The following were the premiums collected in a month. So, life policies 2.9, non-life is 2.5. No? So, of course, since we're talking about the life insurance premium, so limited lang talaga yung ating percentage tax doon sa life policies. Therefore, 2.9 million that is subject sa ating percentage tax na 2%. Dito sa non-life, that is subject sa other tax, which is value added tax. So, ganun lang naman siya. Illustration number 2, Pinoy Reinsurance. So, reinsurance, so hindi siya yung direct business. Reported the following premiums and retrocessions to a foreign retrocessioner during the month. Okay. So, a reinsurance premium, of course, that is exempted sa ating percentage tax. No? And of course, the retrocession premium, hindi rin siya kasama. Tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, hindi rin siya subject doon sa ating gross receipts. Okay? So, other the retention and of course the insurance contract that is subject to value added tax. In this case, wala tayong subject sa percentage tax. Okay? Illustration number 3. Sierra Life Insurance Company offer life insurance and variable insurance products. Pag sinabi natin variable insurance product, ito yung sikat na VUL, meaning the plan has life insurance and also investment. Only investment yung subject sa percentage tax. Okay? So, in this case, life plans, of course, 2 million is being subject doon sa ating percentage tax na 2%. For variable life plans, of course, ang total premiums na binayaran ay 8 million daw. Out of 8 million, 5 million ay related sa insurance, 3 million ay related sa investment. Therefore, 5 million plus 2 million, that is 7 million. Multiply by 2%, percentage tax, that is 140,000 cents. Sige. Just to summary the tax rules on insurance. So, sinasabi lang naman din yan na this one, yung insurance na i-collecta niya from insured person, subject yun sa 2% premium tax. Gets? No? Kapag si insurer ay nagpa-insure sa isang reinsurer company, therefore, ang babayaran niya ay hindi subject sa percentage tax. So, 0%. So, wala namang kaso kung accepted yun or 0%. Same lang din. Okay. As to foreign insurers, kapag si foreign insurers, ibig sabihin kapag si insured person nagpa-insure sa ibang bansa, no, kapag directly siya nagbabayad kay foreign insurers, the premiums being paid is subject sa 5% percentage tax. However, if indirect siya no, kumuha kay foreign insurer, therefore my agent, the premiums being collected by agent papunta kay foreign insurer, that is 4% premium tax, no. So bakit ba naging 4%? Dahil according to RA 1001, reduce the tax on life insurance premium from 5% to 2%. So dati daw kasi ay 5% na naging 2%. And sinabi rin din sa under section 124 of NIRC na insurance agents authorized under the insurance to procure policies insurance or is located in the Philippines for companies not authorized to transact business in the Philippines are subject to tax equal to the equal to the equal to twice the tax imposed on life insurance premium. Since nga nagkaroon ng changes from 5% to 2%, so yung 2% ang twice doon ay 4%. Therefore, 4% yung pinapataw kapag dumaan kay agent, no? Papuntang foreign insurers, no? So yun lang. So, ito naman yung summary. So basahin niyo na lang yung ibang paragraphs niya. So ganun na naman siya kadali. Okay. Okay. So this one, the second to the last, of course, the letter is O, or overseas dispatch message or conversation originating from Philippines. So overseas daw. So ito yung in layman term, that is long distance call, no? So from Philippines to foreign countries, no? So sige. So sabi na naman diyan, if Philippines, that is subject sa 12% VAT. From abroad to Philippines, that is 0%, zero rating. Otherwise, pag hindi na-meet yung requirement, that is exempted. From Philippines papuntang abroad, of course, 10%. Overseas communication tax. So, ganun naman kadali. So, always check kung saan ba nanggaling or saan yung origin ng call or ng message or communication. If it's within the Philippines, papunta sa ibang bansa, that is subject to 10% overseas communication tax. So, ganun naman siya kadali. 5 million multiplied by the 10% rate, no, na percentage tax. Therefore, 500,000. Of course, there's an exemption. There's exemptions rather related to this overseas communication tax, wherein if the communication comes from the government papuntang ibang bansa, that is still exempted. Same with the diplomatic services, international organization, and news services. So that's it for the tax on overseas dispatch message or conversation originating from Philippines. Sometimes, no, sa title pa lang alam mo na kagad kung ano yung mga subject, ano yung mga requirements para maging subject siya sa percentage tax. Dito kailangan overseas, kailangan originating from Philippines. 'Di ba? So ganoon na naman siya kadali. Okay, and dito na tayo sa last part ng ating mnemonics na B-cap flow. Sige. B-cap flow. So nandito na sa letter W. Of course, W stands for winnings from horse race or high alay. No? Sige, so mapapansin nyo, horse race, high alay. So, general 10% except lang dito sa combination bets, no? Double, forecast, quinela, trifecta. So, double, forecast, quinela, and trifecta. So, ito na yung yung definition para ma-identify nyo. So, kayo na bahala umintindi, no? So, madali naman siya intindihin. And of course, straight wagers, no? Ayan ay subject sa 10%. This one, subject sa 4%. So, ganoon na naman siya kadali, no? Proceed tayo with the illustration number 1. Of course, Gambi Hippodrome operates a racetrack, no? So, sinasabi naman dyan na the total winnings on straight bet is 80,000. So, kung mapapansin nyo, no, doon sa nakalagay sa taas, that is net winnings. Therefore, the cost of ticket is being deducted sa ating winnings, no, before natin multiply sa applicable percentage tax. Okay? So, sige, number 1 item. Total winnings on straight bets. Of course, straight bets is 10%. So, 80,000 total winnings less than 10,000, 70. Multiply mo by 10%, that is 7,000 pesos, no? Total winnings in daily double forecast, so that is 4% yan, no? And 40,000 less 600, sorry. Multiply mo by 4%, that is 1,576, no? Winner of trifecta, still 4%, 30,000, less mo 200 times 4%, that is 1,192. Okay. Price of the owner of winning horses. So, this one is the first item dito sa taas, that is 10%. So, 100 times 0.10, that is 10,000. So, just to get the total of 4 items, 7,000, 1,576, 1,192, and also the 10,000. Therefore, the answer is 19,768. No? So, tama naman tayo. No? So, magkano ba yung total payout ng mga winners? Of course, 250 minus 19,768, that is 230, 232, no? Sige. So, illustration 2, net winning. So, sinabi na si Mrs. Petra daw ay nanalo ng 58,000 payout. And the cost of her ticket is 100 pesos. So, magkano daw yung total na ma-receive ni Mrs. Petra? Of course, total winnings niya ay 58,000. So, magkano ba yung tax applicable for that? 58 na winnings, less mo yung 100 na ticket, multiply by trifecta, therefore 4%, that is 2316. Kunin mo na yung difference ng dalawa, 58, 1, 2, 3, 1, 6, therefore 55, 684. So, ito. No? So, tama naman. Sige. Illustration number 3, operator of high alay. No? Naka-receive doon siya ng 1 million total receipts sa pagpapataya niya sa high alay. No? So, sinabi daw na there was a total 650,000 total winnings of various picks made by the bettors. The cost is 50,000. So, 650 minus 50 multiplied by the applicable tax rate na 10%. Therefore, 60,000 yung ating percentage tax. Okay? So, ganun lang naman siya kadali. No? Just to summarize about the specific percentage taxes related on this chapter, chapter 5, the percentage tax, you may screenshot this or you may also use this as a reference in the future once you're working na, no? So, ganoon lang naman kadali yung specific percentage taxes. Okay, proceed na tayo, no? We're done na with our mnemonics na B-Cap flow. So, this one is a separate topic in chapter 5. Wherein, and this one yung withholding of percentage tax at source. Super dali lang na ito. So, sinasabi lang naman dito is, kapag ikaw ay nagbenta kay government agency, instrumentalities, or government-owned controlled corporations, of course, yung ibabayad nila sa'yo ay net of withholding tax na 3%. No, ganun lang naman siya. Sige. Of course, the withholding amount na dinadak ni government sa iyo, you may use this on your tax due. Okay? Sige, to illustrate para mas madali natin maintindihan, Mr. Avila, non-VAT taxpayer, ay nagbenta daw ng various office supplies sa government agency worth 200 kyaw and to private customers for 80,000. So, of course, 200,000 lang yung merong withholding. So, 200 multiply by 3%, no? So, that is 6,000. So, expect mo na ang ma-release mo lang kay government is 194,000. However, in computing tax due, no, kapag magpa-file ka na, so, magkano ba pagkakabenta mo? 200 sa government. 80 daw sa private customer. So, 280 na yan. I-multiply mo sa 3% since you are non-VAT taxpayer. Therefore, your sales is subject sa 3% tax. So, times 0.03. That is 8,400. Since nag-withhold nga si government ng 6,000 sa iyo, that amount could be deducted on your percentage tax due na 8,000. Therefore, 8,400 less mo yung 6, the answer is 2,400. That is the tax due, no, related on this problem. Illustration number 2, would your corporation a non-VAT taxpayer paying 3% tax, no, had the following receipts in the quarter. Okay. So, taxable sales daw sa government agencies is 150, private is 60, exempt sales is 180. Siyempre, doon lang tayo sa government entities kung saan ka nagbenta, 150 times mo by 3%. No? Of course, that is 4,500. That amount, the 4,500 is being withheld by the government. No? So, but of course, this 4,500 can be deducted on your future tax due. Okay, so 150. So, mag-compute na tayo ng tax due natin, 150. Yung total natin na 150 plus 60, no, that is subject for percentage tax na 3%. 210 multiply by 3%. Your taxable amount is 6,000. The tax due is 6,300. But since previously, the government already withhold part of your for collection, that is 4,500. Therefore, the remaining tax due after the withholding is 1,800. No? So, ang technique lang dyan, as long as you have customers, that is government, instrumentalities, or GOCC, you are expecting that they already withhold 3%, no, on your collections. No? Sige, ganun lang naman siya. Okay, tax on other taxable sales of non-VAT taxpayers. So, of course, sinasabi lang naman dito that the imposable percentage tax on taxable sales receipts other than firm services or transaction is specifically subject to percentage tax on non-VAT person is 3%. So, kung wala ka doon sa breakout flow, of course, the applicable percentage tax for you is 3%. No? Sige, illustration 1, Diyak Restaurant had annual receipts of Diyak, bahala kayo dyan, 1.5 million. During the month, the restaurant generated 200,000 gross receipts. No? So, mapapansin mo, this restaurant or this entity is non-VAT. No? We could assume na non-VAT registered person yan. Therefore, 200,000 is subject sa ating percentage tax na 3%. No? So, ganoon naman siya kadali. Mr. Blackjack is an operator of 40 taxes with annual receipts exceeding 3 million. And a store with annual sales, the following are the sales and during naman. Receipts from taxi units, of course, that is still part of common carriers and keepers of garage, wherein the applicable tax rate for that is 3%. So, 2 million multiplied by 3%, of course, that is our percentage tax. For sale of fruits, of course, that is exempted. No, fruits is part of agricultural and marine food products in their original state, therefore exempted. Sales of other merchandise, of course, we could say what type of merchandise is this. If that's the case, we could assume that that is not part of marine food products in their original state, or these are items not exempted. No, so if that's the case, that is subject sa 3% general percentage tax. Since Mr. Blackjack, we could assume that he is not VAT registered person. Therefore, all collections or sales being done by blackjack is subject sa 3% general tax. Okay? Okay. So, exemptions from percentage tax. Of course, if we're talking about general or goods, or sorry, good, the object of consumption is goods. Therefore, if you are already VAT registered person, you are no longer, no, you are not obliged to pay percentage tax, no. Second, self-employed and or professions who opted to the 8% income tax. So, in lieu of the regular income tax and the 3% general percentage tax, these people, self-employed or professionals, could choose the 8% income tax. Therefore, if that's the case, hindi na pwede maglagay ng percentage tax. No? So, ganun lang naman siya. And of course, the cooperatives, no, sinasabi lang naman din that the cooperatives shall be exempt from the 3% percentage tax. Of course, this is not absolute because sales or receipts of cooperatives outside their registered activities are still subject to business tax. Similarly to business tax treatment of government agencies and non-profit institution. No? So, madali lang naman to. Actually, this chapter 5, no? Kung babasahin niyo lang siya, straightforward, maintindihan niyo naman na, no? No need na nga na i-explain ko pa. So, in-elaborate ko lang for those na hindi lang talaga, no, hirap intindihin yung mga topic dito sa business tax. Okay? Sige. That would be all for our discussion on this chapter. Chapter 5, Percentage Tax. Bye-bye.